You're listening to Rock-N-Sexxy UnCensored, bringing you the cutting edge of the entertainment world weekly, hosted by Lynn.
Woohoo! All right, you guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Rock-N-Sexxy UnCensored, broadcasting on the United Broadcasting Network, ubngo.com, Channel 1, and live streaming on our blog weekly at rocknSexxxyuncensored.com. I'm your host, Lynn, and joining me is Joe Williamson.
Hey, Amber. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful as always.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
RNSU works overtime to bring you cutting-edge talent from the music and entertainment world. And tonight, we have an incredibly special show planned for you. Guys, the path to our dreams is often rocky and uncertain and not without struggle. Our guest tonight came to America with little money and a dream of being an actor. His story is so compelling, and in a world of such uncertain times, we thought it would be a perfect show for tonight. Right, Joe?
I agree 110%.
He is now a multi-award-winning actor who's had a very blessed career. He's been cast in some monumental films of our generation: Ghost, Bad Influence, True Romance, The Siege, and others. He's worked with top directors and shared screen credits with A-list actors. The film that brought him global attention was his critically acclaimed performance in Green Zone, starring Matt Damon. For that, he garnered a 42nd Image Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, and he went on to produce, write, and direct the multi-award winning film, The American Failure. He's also starred in top TV shows like SWAT and SEAL Team, and he can be seen in some current work in the film I Am Fear and King SWAT. Please welcome to our show, Saeed Faraj is with us today.
Yay!
Hey, Faraj, how you doing?
How are you doing?
Good.
Great seeing you after
I know.
from 2019.
It's been a long time. And I was so excited to have you back on the show. First of all, before we start, did I butcher this?
No.
Sod.
Yeah, but it's like you
You
give it.
teach me. I have like an American.
Sod. Yeah.
King Sod.
Sod. You know, it's almost like Saudi Arabia, but Sod.
Like so. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like Saudi Arabia. Sod.
It says.
What is the meaning of the name?
It's the name of the king. You know, it's a little bit deceiving about the story. It's have a lots of. Multi-layers of sex trafficking and stuff like that. So
wow.
Yeah. It's I'm looking forward this year for it to come out.
How long has it been since you have been on the show?
2019. Before
2019. So it
Yeah.
has been a few years.
I did your show, and 1 month later, or actually 3 weeks later, they shut everything down.
They shut everything down, and right after that, I went off to Vegas, and it seems like it's been a lifetime. Unbelievable. So for our viewers, let's go back to your roots. Let's go back to your beginnings. Your story is so compelling, and I wanted to share this tonight with everybody. You know, everything that's going on in the world today, guys, and such uncertainty out there in the world. He has an amazing story about coming to America.
Talking about diversity, huh?
Talk about diversity. Well, let's talk about some diversity.
I'm proud. I came from Lebanon. In 1983, October 17. I will never forget that.
So you were born in Lebanon.
I was born in Lebanon, and I saw Las Miserables when I was 7 years old, and I fall in love with the theater first. But when I came to LA.
So did your parents take you to the theater?
Oh
or-
no! Well, no.
We're talking about live theater, not
Actually, my parents, we are from a very well-known family in my town, so usually like the doctor, the lawyer, the engineer. This is the type of career they want you to be in. To
right.
be proud.
Well, I think any parents are like that. They want you to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Not necessarily. I think here they support whatever the kid want. I think that
We
I
hope.
always feel like
We hope.
yeah. I mean, I feel that I always say to myself and to all the new generation is that the saddest thing in life is waste of talent.
Yeah.
And especially when you recognize that you have the talent, whatever the talent is. And I suffered a lot because when I was growing up, there was war in my country, and I had to. I fled the country when I was 16 years old. I was, have $235 in my pocket. And
How did you get to the States? Well, before we go there, I love the story about what did your parents say to you when you first said to them, I'm going to be an actor, Mom?
I couldn't say that, but it's like every time it's so funny. Every time there is like a school play, and I try to enter it, and it's like you have the neighbors, the bullies in the neighborhood. So it's like we're going to go tell on you. It's
Oh,
like,
they were?
because it's I have very rough childhood. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally, and I'm not the only special person in this world that have that, but I think that when you enjoy seeing movies, and theater, and you recognize that it's like, wow, something in it. I used to like get into that like that theater and or that character in particular, and pretend that I was him. And if I was him, what I would do at that age. So, but it was, as well, it was a war. So, the as much as my dream was to drift into these characters, at the same time, you don't have to think it's like, oh, okay, in 10 years I'm going to be that. So that was very like you live a day by day. Because you don't know if tomorrow you're going to die or not.
Or they're bombing. Were they bombing in the country?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
hard.
European
Bad.
war is brutal. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not for everybody, but I do think that here in the U.S. that we don't get the crux, the true crux of what goes on
Absolutely.
in the world. Yeah.
But I think that gave me, it's
So at
like
16 years old, though, at 16 years
at 16.
old, your parents, did they decide to ship
you
to
see,
the US?
at 16, you're back then you're mandatory to join the army in Lebanon.
Oh.
Okay, I was going to ask
Yeah.
that.
So, and I didn't want to. My God bless my dad. So he passed last year.
I'm
He
sorry.
helped me get out of Lebanon, and it's so funny because
You said, Dad, I don't want to be in the army. Well, it's a death
I didn't
sentence
want to be
him.
because it was religion type of war. It was civil war, and you don't know who you're going to fight in the other side, So I didn't want to fight my cousins or somebody or friends, It's like, and I'm a lover. So I went through a lot to get to the level of my paperwork and the visa and the American embassy. When they blew the American embassy, I was actually one of the last people that received the visa. I was very lucky.
Oh, God bless
The,
you.
same day.
Yeah. The same day.
Same day.
And you said, I'm getting on a plane.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's like when you go to the airport, you just don't get into the airport and you leave. It's like they go, it's like, okay, why are you the only 16-year-old that entering an airplane with only women and children, and you're 16 years old? So what you're going to do? And I was like, I told the guy over there, like, I'm only going to go visit my brother.
Acting came in handy.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get more natural than that.
And so you did have people in the States waiting for
I
you.
had at the time my uncle, but I didn't know where. I mean, it's like to fast forward. I reached to New York. I'm from New York. The embassy they interrogated me for 4 hours because in Lebanon, American embassy was blown up. So. But I was very lucky to come to LA. Now, when I reached the airport, this is the funniest part. In my country, is they go by the last name. Let's say for example, Faraj would be North Hollywood, Lynn will be Sherman Oaks. So it's like I came and I get into the to the bus and was like, my uncle, his last name. So I'm giving her the last name to be like, where is he? And out of that, I had $235 in my pocket, and I was like North Hollywood, So I thought North Hollywood is a couple streets, and I reached Colfax and Riverside, and I was waiting for my uncle for 2 weeks on that bench.
Wow.
Eating one hamburger a day, by the way.
So you were waiting on a bench for your uncle to come and get you.
Because the idea is like, it's like my uncle, it's only one street to street. I didn't know North Hollywood.
And that could be dangerous for a 16-year-old, by yourself.
I mean,
and this was in New York. Oh, yeah.
Actually, no, in LA.
Oh, you were in LA.
Yeah,
okay.
I reached LA.
Which can't be any
difference.
It depends on which street you're
and
on.
especially when I have
you're
a little
Hollywood,
bit of an English.
So you could be on Santa Monica Boulevard. The next thing you know, I know. And this is in the 80s, right? Or is this in the 90s?
80s, 1983.
Yeah, and I remember too, and I just to identify, in the 80s, I know that the kids of the 80s all kind of have this story where we pretty much had parents who just had heavy hands. If you didn't do the right thing or you got out of line, you go.
Back then.
Right? Shopping in Kmart, it'd be like, don't touch that. Now I look back and I say to myself, though, I know my mother was heavy-handed and we had to be good-mannered no matter what. Mm-hmm. There was no option. But now today, I look at that and I'm grateful because I do have good manners and I know how to act. And I notice that in the world today, the way people are starting to act and react against each other and just kind of start to almost cannibalize within our own people. That it's all about like boundaries and manners.
Absolutely.
And when I was young, if I went in those directions, that smack in the head or whatever it was I got in my youth stopped me dead in my tracks. And so I always think about that, in my grown-up life. Like, no, we're not going to go there.
Our generation, I think it gave us more foundation to how we need to guide our life and the morals, the standard, what kind of standard we need to, what kind of direction we need to go to. And the new generation is completely different. They look at us like we are the people that, they look at our generation actually as we're destroying this earth for them.
Well,
we're destroying the globe,
And we have, I know all of us, and I know this about you, I know this about Joe, and I do know this about myself and a lot of my friends. Our work ethics and our values are just
absolutely
in everything we do. We work very hard, constant, and I see that in the new generations, a lot of people resting on their laurels, on their cell phones. They don't even answer you if you're talking to them. That's the other thing I think, too, is that we communicate with each other. And we are there in community. And it doesn't matter if you're, Lebanese, American, whatever it is, black, white, Asian. We tend to be more community, a sense of community among us where we realize that we have to, help each other to survive. And I see that all changing in the world today. People are just getting it's getting to be a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So let's talk about, so you come to America, you're living on one hamburger a day, and you said, Uncle, I'm going to be an actor. Or you just said, no matter what, I have to do something.
I actually it didn't work this way. It's first thing I needed my English to get better, so I went
And you didn't
into
speak any English?
my English was very light, little French, little English, little Arabic, just because you know when you say war in Lebanon at the time, it's not like 1 or 2 years. We're talking about like 8 and 9 and 10 years. So 8 and 9 and 10 years of a childhood, that's like most of like what is the foundation of your education.
Right.
So I had to go to an adult school to like to what is it, ESL, the school for
Uh-huh.
English, and I graduated from high school, like get my diploma, and then
And your
went-
uncle was good to you.
my
Your
uncle, he was living, it's like in North Hollywood, he's doing his own thing, and it's just for my side, I needed to get out, to do what I need to do. I need to get a job because I don't, I have this, since I was young, my pride don't let me ask for money. So I need to earn my own money.
Right.
But here it was a little bit tough because you needed to have your papers, and at the time, I started going from one job to one job. But I almost changed around 22 jobs in 2 years.
Wow.
So because every time I go work in a job, by the time they ask for your social security, it's just you told them I don't have it and just give me my money, and then you move to the next job.
Right.
And one thing led to another is that when I was in high
Well, you were
school,
doing a different job though, weren't you? When you
A lot.
when you first got discovered, weren't you working in a
working in jobs.
yeah? What you were working? Weren't you working in a restaurant or something?
I was working. What actually happened is that before I graduated, my art teacher, I asked her, it's like, I'd like to find out how I need to enter the acting business and the entertainment. She told me, well, it's called Atmosphere Agencies. It's gone right now. It's a background. I was like, great, it's like, oh my God, just hearing that word, it was like the biggest thing for
Well,
me.
it is a job though, and a lot of people do it. They do background work, and
back
you
then-
earn money for
Yes,
background work, and
absolutely.
you earn enough to survive, as an actor.
And I did.
And that is how most people start, is that they do background work, and then they survive, and they get opportunity, and they get networking, and they get information, and
The
right.
networking. That's
Yes.
what happened. I network, and I got my first agency. I'm sorry, my first manager at the time. And from there, I started auditioning, and I got my SAG card in 1989.
How'd you get your first break?
It was with a film was starring David Hasselhoff, and he is very nice guy, by the way, really, really nice guy. And I got I worked in a film that it was union, but I wasn't union, but they liked what I did, and I got hired for it, and I got my SAG card, and from there on, my whole life changed upside
I
down.
remember getting my SAG card too, and it was just such a proud moment, isn't it?
I was thinking it's like how I need to pay for my SAG card, because
Or then
back
you
then
got to
it
pay
was-
for your SAG
yeah,
card,
it's
but
like-
you have to be Taft-Hartley to get your SAG.
exactly.
And you have to be chosen on a set to do the
Yes.
dialogue, and you have to have a certain amount of dialogue in order to get it, and then it's a big deal. They take you in the back, and we're going to Taft-Hartley you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get your SAG card out of this, and I remember just, oh my God, I was so excited. I
So
thought,
excited.
right? You get so excited, and then they go, and then I don't know, it's a lot. It's like $1,100.
Now
And
it's
if you're-
more.
back this was
Back then.
in the 80s. I don't know what it is now, but back then it was like 1,100. And I remember
Yeah.
being a young actress and being like, I did the same thing, having to. Well, I did different things.
Yeah.
You did.
But
But we all struggled in our own way, and then we got our SAG, and then we went on from there.
But I have to admit, when I hear the word, it's like I get my first role. I was like, talking about like your dream, really, oh my God, it's like that's
Well,
it, I make it, I
brings
made it,
it-
and I only have like 1 or 2 lines, I think, I remember
It
back then.
brings the reality of your success into view. Is what I think I'd like to say. Is that's what it does. It's like until then, you're dreaming.
Yes.
You want to be an actor. And we're all talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And, and it's not cheap because you have all this stuff. You have to have, all these classes and you have to find a way to get to them.
They come later.
And then that all comes out, right? But I think that we all have a certain amount, like you said, of that innate talent that comes out in us that just, boom, there's something. I don't know if it's from another lifetime or what that says, click. This is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to be.
Sure.
So what was your first break? Was it the film the Matt Damon film? Is that your first big break? Or because that was one where you got a lot of attention.
I work
Right.
hard for that, by the way. But
Okay, so we want to talk about that. I have a clip from it. And so you were struggling. You were doing project after project for a while.
small projects, and what happened, I decided that, hey, listen, I'm doing all this under 5 lines, what I need to do to get to the next level, and they say, well, you need to take acting classes. So
I need to know how to do this.
yeah, it's like really. Well, there is and it's amazing because like the techniques of auditioning is different than the techniques of acting, which is there are 2 different things. You need to learn. And back then, you need to go to an audition, and there are certain ways of audition, what to say, what not to say. It's like if I didn't feel it. Can I do it again? It's like you don't do that. So it took like around this one. I had 7 years of hard work with a fantastic teacher. Her name is Candy. Now she's retired. Big shout out to her. She helped me a lot. And this is when I also learned that I'm dyslexic, because I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have never known that.
Yeah, I everything backwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
so
did.
it's
You
like,
know what? It absolutely doesn't show. Absolutely not.
work a lot. It's like if you give me any book,
You see
first thing I
that?
do.
So if you do struggle with dyslexia, that, one of the things you think you would not be able to do is acting, because it is very precise. One of the things I know about acting that I've learned, and I came from a background in modeling, and I was a model since I was like 8 years old. I went through the same modeling schools as Farrah Fawcett, Jacqueline Smith, John Robert Powers. I was at the top of my class. I did runway modeling. My dream was to be a top runway model. And then when I was about 16, they realized I wasn't going to grow over 5'7", which is like the minimum. Oops. So I was like the minimum. And minimum is not going to get you a lot of work. They want you to be 5'11". My mother was 5'11", so everybody thought, of course she's going to be tall. And I took after my dad, so I didn't go up. But I had all of that kind of in front of the camera training. This is the angle, this is this, this is this. Okay. But then you get on a real set, and for me, it's about your communication with your director, period. Because, of course, you need to know how to hit your mark, and you do need to know how to deliver your lines and stuff like that. But you can do all that until you're blue in the face. But the director is the one, and he wants it done a certain way. And that's it. You just do what he says.
Absolutely.
Right. And I always, that's always been my thing, is my communication with my crew and my directors, because those are the people who actually create the film around us. We create the character with the director, but the crew is the one who creates how that is brought to life on film. And if they don't like you, I don't care how good your acting is, they could destroy you.
Of course,
or
absolutely.
they can come in.
And it did.
And so I've always looked at things like that, because I'm a Virgo. I am a Virgo, and they are I just innately very analytical people, and we look at things in a broader perspective. So that's always worked for me in life. But so you did all of this work you kept moving forward. You wanted to go past
I just want to make sure that people understand one thing. I learned the most important thing that I learned in the 7 years, and it's like people will ask, what did you gain out of that 7 years? One word. You know what is it?
What?
Listen.
Right.
Not this many people listen. They hear people, but they never listen. And listening it's a whole important thing. Listening to the director, listening to the actor, listening to the direction, listening to everybody. And people, they don't listen. And when you learn the art of listening, then you become a different actor. Because if you go to I used to feel embarrassed when I go to an audition and I go inside a casting office and the person tell me something, and I'm like, give it a little bit of an oomph. Like, for example, I'm like, I don't know what the word of oomph, you know.
Yeah.
So what that put me is like pretend that I didn't listen to it, and I go and do the same thing or choose something else, and that person right away, they know that this person is not listening to my direction. So and that
Which
you will
is
end up
usually all
losing.
they're testing to begin with. Have you
Exactly.
noticed that?
Absolutely,
Okay,
100%.
because I just wanted to put
That-
that
that's
out
what
there.
this listening is
You
all
learn
about.
that really quick. They give you direction, not necessarily because they want the because they want to see if you can follow direction.
Absolutely.
And that goes back once again to your relationship to your director. Is this person going to be able to work with the director? Because
directly.
I've had directors ask me to do ridiculous, off the wall things, and right, and I'm like. And then they'll take me aside and they'll go, by the time I get to the set, do what I have to do. And I'll go, what? You didn't even use that. Why did you make me do that? And they said, because I sensed you were nervous.
And
I
just want
sensed
to-
you
yeah,
were a little rigid, and I needed you to break through that.
absolutely.
And you're like, oh, and so they'll ask you to do some stupid thing, right? And I've always been like,
Yeah.
nope, I got to do what the director says. Boom. And I get that. It goes back to my mom, where she would just be, pow.
Listen.
Did you hear me? So you just go, boom, okay. And you just get like militant about it. But
Absolutely.
anyway, so was it your first breakout role? Was that in.
A green zone, yes, as building a character, doing everything. And what I like the most about it is that when I wanted to audition, my agent and my manager, it wasn't the same agent and manager I have right now, but they said, listen, this role is getting an offer already, so you're going over there just because it's a good office to know. I was like, who stars in that movie? It's like a 14-page monologue on dialect. They just want me to go over there just to say hi to the casting director and do a part and leave. It's like, well, the Matt Damon is the star of that, It's like, Matt Damon, really? Okay, so let me tell you something. I'm going to go over there and book the role. I didn't know what the role about, nothing. It's like, before I get any information, this is the first thing I told. It's like, listen, Saeed, please don't embarrassing us. Don't talk to the casting director about anything. Just go inside and get out. I was like, no. Get ready. I'm going into this office, and I'm going to book this role. And it's like my manager called me, listen, you're not going to do that. I was like, no, actually I am going to go do inside what I need to do, and I'm going to book the role. So I went, and this is when I went and start understanding what is the role about. It was a 65 years old man, which is completely off my 250 pound, based on a real guy, and he was bald. And I'm going like, wait a second here. What did I thought? It's like I'm going to go book this role. And I was like, you know what? Okay. So this role is a Middle Eastern role. He's an Iraqi. And for me, I was like, if I wanted to do this role, I'm picturing all the actors, what they're going to do with it. They're all going to be that stereotype. So I'm going to do something completely different. At the time, I have a friend of mine. His name is Josh Dohan. Big shout out to him. He was on the General Hospital at the time. I told him, hey, listen, I need to come to see you. I need your help with something. So I went over there and I told him, listen, this is a Middle Eastern role. I wanted to look like a Middle Eastern, but I want to act it as an American, which is because American, they don't have emotions when they act. They're very low key in things. No matter how much, like, whatever the level of intensity that they do, is that this is when the intensity start with Middle Eastern, for example, in roles. So I didn't want that. I want him to be playing low key, and I work on it so hard, and he done no problem. So we work on it in a way that if he's going to do it. And I went inside and I auditioned for it. I was the only person over there because they had auditioning people from Morocco, Spain, London, all the Middle East, and New York. And the casting director, her partner was in LA, so I was the only person from LA. I put myself, and then they sent it to New York, and from New York they sent it to London to Paul Greengrass, and then from there they sent it also to him. He was in Morocco at the time, start shooting, and it took 4.5 months of negotiation because nobody want me. Universal did not want me. CEO did not want me. Nobody want me because I wasn't a name. And the character is very pivotal character in the.
Who believed in you though? Who wanted you to do it?
Paul Greengrass, his assistant. When I was over there, I asked her, it's like, just want to know how did I get cast? She told me Paul Greengrass, when they sent that tape, he put it as like, let me see what you have. And from the first sentence I opened my mouth, he paused it. And he said, this is the guy I want. And it took 4.5 months of he's fighting for me.
Wow.
Paul Greengrass, the director.
Okay,
and
guys.
I'm so grateful to him.
We have a clip of this scene that we're discussing here on Rock-N-Sexxy Uncensored, so take a look at this.
What do you know about weapons? Where are the weapons? جاوب على السؤال أحسن لك.
بس محمد الراوي هو يعرف عن هذا المعلومات.
So only General Muhammad al-Rawi who know about these things. Okay, how do I find out Rawi?
زين شلون يقدر يلتقي بمحمد
How do I
شلون
find
يقدر
out
يلقاه؟
Rawi?
أنت تقدر تحمل لي عائلتي؟
What do you know about weapons? Where are the weapons? جاوب على السؤال أحسن لك.
بس محمد الراوي هو يعرف عن هذا المعلومات.
So only General Muhammad al-Rawi who know about these things. Okay, how do I find out Rawi?
زين شلون يقدر يلتقي بمحمد
How do I find out Rawi?
أنت تقدر تحمل لي عائلتي؟
So can you protect his family?
أنت تقدر تعمل لي عائلتي. أنا أدلك على مكان محمد الراوي.
If you protect my family, I will tell you how you find Muhammad al-Rawi.
هو يقول لها حقيقة.
And then from him you will know the truth.
That was amazing. Beautiful performance.
It's
Second day on set.
Wow.
That's Saeed Faraj, guys, in the movie Green Zone, and in the scene that you see him in, he's with Matt Damon. Matt Damon is one of my favorite actors. I think he is just an amazing actor, and he hasn't done as much as I would like to see him do either. He's had a struggle in his career. I mean, he's definitely had some great success as well. But this scene particularly that you did was critically acclaimed. I mean, people picked that scene of all things out of that movie and said it was just like literally sent chills down my back when they said, will you protect my family? You were there in that moment with this man who the world is blowing up around him, and all he wants to know is, will you protect my family? And we all know that feeling.
It's so funny because this is the second day I was over there in Morocco, and that scene was the first take actually in the film.
Wow.
And when I was Paul Greengrass, God bless him, he liked improvisation. And when I reached over there, I had a little bit of learned the accent from a friend of mine. His name is Sam Sacco, technical advisor here. But when I get over there, they say, no. This guy is from Tikrit, which is, he's a Ba'athi. It's Saddam's regime, so they have completely different accent. So there was also another technical advisor over there. No, you have to say it this way. So I have almost around like 6 hours to learn a new language, from the Chinese to Japanese. It's like completely different. and Paul Greengrass liked to improv. Now I didn't know that this guy in real life, he didn't have a family. So the first thing, I was at the wall at the time, I was thinking about my family, and it just happened to come out. I mean, naturally, I was thinking about them, and it's like, I told him, "Can you protect myself?" Because he thought that this guy is like, all these people are watching him, and if the American leave, he's going to get killed. So he didn't care about his life. He cared about, it's like, can you as long as you can protect my family, then I don't care if I die or not. And this is the idea, and that's why when I was going through the emotions, it was through looking and seeing my kids, what will happen to them. It's like, if they kill me, then as long as I make it protection, but if they are not protected, then means that they will die. And this, when I got very emotional with it. It was like one take thing, you know.
And still, in spite of the great performance, you can always find yourself winding up on the cutting room floor. And it was one of the best scenes in the movie.
I'm blessed.
And it sort of catapulted you into Hollywood and made you a
Internationally as well.
recognizable, and internationally made you a recognizable name. I remember the first time I had him on the show, we went for sushi afterwards, and TMZ is running down the street after us, and all this stuff is going on, and they're like, Faraj, and he's like an international hero, and he's such a humble man too, and such a nice guy, and we were just, I was like, this is amazing, and usually they're after me. And
they
I'm
still
like,
are,
and you're not even wearing a skirt. You don't even have to wear a dress, right? And you're getting all this attention. And he was so nice, always, and always has been, to the paparazzi or TMZ or anybody else who has shown up to talk to you. And I've always respected that about you. So then you said, okay, I'm successful, and you went on and you wrote, directed, and
the American
produced, starred in, right, your own film.
Yes. And that was a dream that when you be in the business for a long time, I kept in my head a dream of 20 years. My biggest idols in the movie business is Al Pacino, and I saw him in a movie as a lawyer that I think is called. He played a lawyer. I don't recognize it exactly right now, but I kept thinking, like, why can't I be a lawyer? I mean, in my head, as to act as a lawyer, you know, and I say, you know what? I start creating this idea. Then I start I like the mob movies, you know, Justice for All.
Yes, I was going to say that.
And when I saw that, it's like, I'm going like, you know what? I would like to be a lawyer in a film. So and since I saw, after that, I kept adding. It's like, what if it was a lawyer that he have first the mafia and the films with Untouchable and things like that was like a major thing. So I was like, if I kind of stole $100 million from a mob, what they would do. And then it's like, what is the state of mind that I would be? First thing, I would like, I don't care about it anymore. That's it. I'm going to die. So I will drink. I'll take, drugs, whatever. It's like, And then most important thing, what I will do is, I will confess to my sins. And then after that, it is what it is, right? So this is the idea of the story that I have in the film. And I kept it for 20 years in my head. And over the years, until the time that came to it, I met a writer. And then another writer is like, we were like, one person put the foundation, the second person, Chris Anglin, he is a fantastic writer in LA, that he put it as an LA style, make it more actiony. And then I wanted to be like suspense thriller, like people don't know what will happen at the end. And I didn't have enough money for me to put it as a feature film. So I made it as short. And at the time I was working in a TV show, NCIS LA. So I met Hakim Kaikazem. He was with me in the show. So I asked him to be part of this film. And then Adrienne Wilkinson, she was also, I met her in an event. And one thing led to another. And then my manager at the time, Steve Owens, I give him a big shout out. He helped me put the production together. And also my friend Sam Sako helped me with certain people to bring in. One thing led to another, man. We put the film together in 2 days. We shot it.
Wow.
And then
In 2 days?
In 2 days.
Wow.
And everybody labor of love. It's just we.
And this film went on to win Best Picture at the Cannes Film Festival.
It went to Cannes Film Festival. It went to won 5 Best Actor, 4 Best Pictures, 3 Best Directors, and it changed my style of thinking as when you see, because when you are in front of the camera as an actor is completely different than when you are a producer.
Absolutely,
and with
a
everybody,
director.
it's like make sure everybody is like. I was like, hold a second, I need to go make some coffee for everybody. Then I kept to the set, I'm doing my scene, and then it's like, okay, hold a second, what's the problem? It's like, I'm talking to they have some issues on the set, and it's like, oh my God, what we're having tomorrow? Tomorrow is raining, so it's too many things. Plus you going, and my part was very intense, with complete emotion and lots of monologues going on. So, I mean, blessings.
Let me ask you something. You said that your family and your parents did not want you to be an actor. They wanted you to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever.
That could have been a catastrophe.
What did they say? What?
That would be a catastrophe.
What did they say when you went back home? Or did you go back home? Or how did they get word? And then what did they say? Here you are, an international film star. Mm-hmm. And not just an actor, but you're now a producer and a director and a writer, and you've done all these things. You've gotten all this critical acclaim. How did they feel about? Were they proud? Did they?
In the beginning, when they came over here in the beginning. They disowned me. They thought like all what you do in the as an entertainer is like go get drugs and get wasted.
Well, they always have these ideas.
These ideas, But
we're like, I wish. No. No, I'm actually on a set 18 hours a day, right?
Yeah,
we're
that's
like,
not what we do, right?
We were partying more and having a great time. Not necessarily drugs, but we do say like, wow, I wish it wasn't, because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and you do have a lot of sacrifice, and it's not just 100%. About the time you spend in front of the camera. It's the time you spend getting ready to get in front of the camera and doing all those auditions and getting all that work.
And it's still till this day.
So what about now? What's going on today? Let's talk about today.
But I just want to say that right now my parent, after God bless my dad's souls, until last year, he was very proud to every time he see me on the screen, and also my mom and everybody else. I think that it took 38
sorry you
years.
Lost your father.
Thank you. But it took 38 years for them to go like that. I think now he's too much in it, I think it's like he's not going to leave it.
My family's like, yeah.
I think after all this year, they realize
now they're like, well, you think you're all that now,
absolutely,
right? But you need to just go make your bed still, right?
Yeah, and wash my laundry and everything else, and do my food.
Right.
But hey, that's keep you humble,
Right.
I think that you need that foundation again.
Well, I think the industry has a way of humbling us, because no matter how fast you rise,
absolutely,
right? Up the roller coaster. All you got to do is have one flaw, one not right, and then boom, they seem to forget about all this, and you have to go right back up and start over again.
Absolutely.
And the pandemic has had a way of just leveling the playing field for everybody. Everybody has felt it. So what's going on now? Are we working on anything?
Well, there is definitely. It's a series. I met this fantastic agent of mine. literally agent. Her name is Lisa Simpson. Just give her big shout out. She have a script that is called Ward 8, and I'm one of the series regular. There is still under wrap with because we're trying to put everything together. There is some recognizable actors that really are very interested in being part of it, and the most important thing is what called diversity is all about.
Right.
And I need to talk about diversity because really. I have to say that I'm really kind of bothered with the diversity and the propaganda that they're making out of it, because recently and lately with all the movie industry, just one race, it's not the rainbow, you know. To add one race as African American to a movie or to a series doesn't make a diversity. We are the rainbow have lots of beautiful colors, and I think that each race is beautiful. And I'm sorry, because I feel that people say, well, you know, look what happened. Rami Malek, he won an Oscars, and Mina Masoudi was in a Aladdin, but they don't consider diversity. They don't consider they are white. They consider them. They speak with they want you to look. I mean, the crazy part, they want you to look ethnic or diverse, but they want you the first minute to open my mouth is like an American accent comes out, you know, which is
really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why that's the I mean, it's like you have beautiful Asian accent, you have beautiful Latin accent, you have Middle Eastern accent, and you know, and it's very important. And I think that my series is going to be I'm going to fight for diversity, and definitely it is something.
What is the name of it?
Ward 8.
Word 8.
Yes, and there is a couple of them also that I really really am working with my agent on that, and I want to give big shout out for fantastic team that I have. His name is Mark. He's my other agency in he's in the East Coast, and also my biggest supporter and my awesome manager Sheila Leggett, and my assistant I mean the whole team. You need to have a full team for you to strive in this business and to get to the next level, you know.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you, and I absolutely agree with the colors of the rainbow. And as Joe knows, here on Rock-N-Sexxy Uncensored, I always work and strive to bring all kinds of people to our show, all kinds of talents,
More power.
all kinds of cultures, all kinds of
Genders.
race, gender, ethnicities.
It's very
I
important.
want to bring it together as much as I can and show the world that not only can we survive with each other, but we can thrive together in our sense of community, because when we rise as a community, we all rise and we all do better. So I work on that constantly.
Please, and continue doing that, because
And I-
against diversity, it is a multicultural diversity. Is it's a beautiful thing. That's why it unites. That's what United States is all about. Is a nation of united cultures, you know, and that's very important, you know, and especially in our media.
That's why
Very
I wanted
important.
to have you on the show. I want to thank you so much for coming in and doing our live show tonight. It is so good to see you, and it's so good to chat with you, and just everything that you represent and your talent, and you're so humble, and you're just such an amazing human being. And I look forward to many more projects coming up in the new year. This year is almost
Amen.
over, right? How do your fans follow you?
Everywhere, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter. Just remember the name Saeed Faraj. And by the way, I really want to thank you so much, Amber, as I enjoy coming to you, because you're also a humble person and full of life. When we come, we become like very good friends, and it's and you know, many success for the years to come for you, and congratulations on the beautiful place here. I really, really like it. I feel you make me feel at home here. And for all the fans out there, trust me, this year is going to be a spectacular year. I have a lot of things happening. My biggest shout out to my agent and my team, and to all the beautiful people that support me over the years. Thank you so much, guys.
Yay! All right, you guys. That's all the time we have for tonight's show. I want to say a special thanks once again to our in-studio live guest, Saeed Faraj. Give him a hand, guys. Thank you to our crew, my co-host, Joe Williamson. And for sponsorship and advertising opportunity on our show, please go to our sponsorship page on our blog. It says sponsorship and advertising at Rock-N-Sexxy UnCensored.com, or you can email us at amberlynnmedia@gmail. We'd be happy to help you with that. And please give us a follow on your way out on our Twitter at Rock-N-Sexxyu, and check out all of our social media links. And join us next week for another amazing episode of Rock-N-Sexxy UnCensored.
Thank you for tuning in to Amber Lynn's Rock-N-Sexxy Uncensored, available on rockandSexxyUncensored.com. Don't forget to hit us up on all your favorite social media links, and tune in next week for another amazing episode of Rock-N-Sexxy Uncensored.